You know, many people in the conservative movement or on the right side of things have written books and write a lot of books. But I challenge any of you listening to this show to quote something that any of them wrote that has any lasting meaning or an insight in any of the books that you really didn't know of before. And yet I'm going to compare myself to them, and yes, I'm going to do so because nobody else will do it. Years ago, not too many years ago, copyright 2005, God, it's 5 years ago, I wrote Liberalism is a Mental Disorder. Much of what you hear coming out of Glenn Beck's mouth, almost everything you hear coming out from the right-wing media is in this book. Almost everything I wrote is being repeated today as though they discovered it themselves. And I don't want to repeat it to prove it because I really don't have to prove anything. The point I'm making is I see things ahead of others, and I am telling you that what I wrote in this book about Bush and the Iraq War, where I said I hope I am wrong, turned out to be true. Did you hear that? I said that it could turn out that Bush's invasion of Iraq could result in the increase in power of Iran, the increase in the borders of Iran, which has de facto occurred, in the sense, I don't know how many of you understand this. Saddam was a Sunni Muslim. They were a minority group in Iraq, and they kept the majority Shia under control with vicious tactics, okay? Iran is primarily a Shiite nation. Saddam was an enemy of Iran. They had gone to war with each other, killing 1 million of their own people over God knows what they disagreed with. It was something to do with some religious disbelief about the 1300s, I suspect. But the point is that he was a stabilizing influence in the Middle East, not destabilizing. I don't think you understand that. Saddam was actually a stabilizing influence in the Middle East. He kept Iran in check. Now, I said, God forbid, it could turn out that this is the greatest military blunder in history. Iran will benefit. There will be a new Persia. Now, you're telling me I was wrong about that? You're telling me that my insights and my fears were wrong? I don't think I was wrong. So now I bring it up to the current issues of the day. The current issue of the day is Afghanistan. Nobody can tell me why we are in Afghanistan. Nobody can tell me why so many brave men are being whacked in Afghanistan. So many men are being killed in Afghanistan. For what? Where is the national security imperative? Because I don't understand it. To this minute, I don't have a reason for us being there. Most of the troops who come home don't know why they were there. They're professionals, so they do what they're told. I understand and I respect that. But why are we there? Why are we wasting our national treasuries like this? Why are the people putting up with a liar like Barack Hussein Obama? The biggest liar in American history, the biggest liar in the White House is Barack Hussein Obama. Here is a man who fraudulently claimed he would end the war. Here is a man who committed so many frauds while running for office that he should be impeached. Here is a fraud called Obama, who pretends with one hand to be a man for the poor when he caters to the rich because they put him in power. Here is a fraud as a president who said he would end the war in Afghanistan and bring the troops home. Instead, he put 40,000 more troops into Afghanistan, and not a peep comes out of the liberals who put him in power. Hardly a peep. Again, we see lies everywhere we turn. Lies, lies, and more lies. Now, in the past, we could have, shrugged it off and said, okay, this is what you get. Politicians are all liars. We are bankrupt. I don't care if officially we're not bankrupt. Our currency is worthless. Our currency has no value whatsoever. And it's only a matter of time until our enemies, mainly China and Saudi Arabia, get together and replace our currency with another currency. And what are you going to do with your paper then? You're going to go to the supermarket with a wheelbarrow full of paper, as was done in the Weimar Republic in the 1920s in Germany? Do you understand the danger we are in with this fraudulent imposter in the White House? It would have been bad enough if we had had a Democrat to begin with, but we have something less than a Democrat. We have something so low that he will go on the lowest television show in the land to try to boost his ratings with which audience? The stay-at-home welfare mom that watches those shows? Do you have any idea what we're dealing with here? You had a jive and a hustle, and now you have to pay the consequences. For years you watched Oliver Stone's movies. You thought he was some left-wing, a genius. He put down the troops who went to Vietnam. He made them into fascists and murderers in the movie Born on the 4th of July. He made you think that every soldier who came home from Vietnam was a basket case. You bought that lie. He then glorified the Cuban drug dealer in Scarface. You bought that lie. He now glorifies Chavez, the dictator from South America. You buy that lie. And finally, we wake up and we hear that he's glorifying Adolf Hitler and blaming the Jews in the media, who he says are glorifying the Holocaust when it never really was that bad, that Hitler wasn't such a bad guy. When are you going to wake up? Don't you understand the danger you put us in? Don't you left-wingers who are so vocal and give so much money to left-wing causes, don't you understand the danger you put yourself in? I know who funded the ACLU. I know who their largest donor was. You don't know that. And I'll tell you his name one day this week. But I will give you a hint. The man who gave $9 million to the ACLU several years ago, I should say his wife, were the biggest bank fraudsters of the last 5 years. They made billions of dollars in selling their savings and loan operation out here in California just before the collapse. And most of what they sold was built on fraud. They should be in prison and their assets seized. Now tell me why, and they're Jewish, by the way, I'm sorry to tell you, and yes, it's going to come up. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it over and over again until you get it through your head. Why, oh why, they gave $9 million to the ACLU? Why did they give money to the ACLU, which hates America, which undermines the family, which undermines the military, which undermines the police, which undermines the morality of America? Why would they give $9 million to the ACLU? What do you want me to do, just sit here and entertain you with fake crying and laughing? You want me to get up here and fake it like a preacher? I'm not going to do that, because there's just a tiny bit of the prophet left in me. I inherited a tiny bit of the prophetic gene, and I have to use it every day that I have left on the radio, because I only answer to one boss, and you never met him. And I didn't either. But one day I will.